how I ended up where I'm sitting at the moment. Okay, so first of all, I was born, as I said the other day, in a little town called Brooklyn, New York. So this is me and my dad's racing team. See, here's how I knew. And I never knew what a redneck was. We just called it white trash, but that's another story. But anyway, we're there, and I'm listening to Jeff Foxworthy one time, and I'm just laughing at all the redneck jokes. And then he says, if you've ever mowed your lawn and found a car, you might be a redneck. And I've done that, okay? So I said, oh my God, that explains a lot, you know? And I don't know why I didn't know it, because what my dad did for a living, he was a race car driver. And then I got into selling kit cars. I don't know if you guys remember these cars in the airports. That's one I built myself, and I didn't want it to be on a VW chassis, so I did it the hard way, and I put it, it's a Ford engine in that, and built my own frame, and you know, it took me forever to build that car, like 2 years, because I had to do it the hard way, rather than just buy the VW and put the body on it, like how that works, yeah. So that was one of the cars that I built, and I sold those things, and you know, when you went to the airport, there was one of these in an airport. You know, I'm dating myself here, but some of you are not here actually remember that. There was one of these in an airport, and you could put your name in the thing if you wanted to get more information. If you were in New York State, I got that lead. Okay, and that was where I learned some of my first things about selling. I also worked for a guy named Harry Chapin, that you guys may or may not have heard of. And so I was working on that. And then we did the Miss America pageant, which is kind of fun. When you're, you know, 20 years old and you get to go where there's 50 women, it's kind of a nice thing. Yeah, so it was kind of a fun project to do. I was single and you know, that was kind of fun. But anyway, so I'm doing the Miss America pageant. And backstage, there's this guy sneaking around. Because he was thinking of buying the Miss Universe pageant. He just wanted to come check out the Miss America pageant and see what it was all about. And I met for the first time, this guy named Donald Trump. At this point, I was working for this company out of Long Island doing custom lighting. And the way I got the job is I was speccing a couple of nightclubs in New York that I was doing the lighting for. And I went to a trade show, and I was showing one of the clients what I was going to do in his nightclub. And I'm 17 at the time, and this guy comes up to me and he says, hey, I like you. He said, why don't you come in and see me at the office? I'd like you to work for me. You know, this is a big lighting company. I said, okay. And I come in, and he offers me a salary. In the midst of this, he decided to take my department that I was running there for him, because I was the one of 12 executives, or 13 executives of the company. They had 250 employees. There was 13 executives. I was one of them. And the rest were all union employees that were working there. And he wanted to take my department, move it over to New Jersey, and start it with his sons. So I said, okay, cool, that'd be great. So I went out and I sold this. The first job I sold was to a place in Darien, Connecticut. It's called Twin Faces East. It was a supper club. If you've been from the Northeast, it's a pretty famous one, actually. Anybody from Buffalo know the 747 Club and the Yellow Jaguar up there. Those are the two top clubs there. And so I was quoting them. And I'm sitting there with the guy that owns the Yellow Jaguar. So he says to me, here's what I'll do. He said, I like you, Tom. He said, you were here. You designed the whole place. You shared your vision with me. I like your vision. But the other company here in town, they don't want you in town. So I called them and I said, hey guys, if we could just, you know, meet in the middle a little bit here, we could drop the price, we can have this job, because the company in town doesn't want us to have it, yada, yada, yada. And the guy says to me, he said, well, he says, here's what you need to do. So what's that? He said, take it out of your commission. And I said, okay. I said, look, man, I know we got the money in this thing. I said, I did it right. I said, I didn't take anything off the job. I said, we just needed to come down 5%, which is nothing in our business. And they said, well, we're not coming down a penny. So if you want the job, take it out of your commission. I said, well, if I do that, then I'm basically doing the job for free. And he said, you know, I don't think I like your attitude. You're fired. You know, I came here for this company, and I said, they said they wanted me, you know, I wanted to give them first crack because, you know, they're the one that gave me the lead. I said, so, but they're not willing to do it for that amount of money. But I have another company that will do it for you. No problem. They'll do a better job. I just felt obligated to offer it to them first. I said, do you care? He said, Tom, he said, you're the guy I'm going to yell at, so I don't care. He said, I don't care where you get it, how you do it. I just want it installed for this price, and I want it done. And I said, fantastic. I said, here's what you need to do. Write me out a check for 50% deposit, which was standard in our industry, so that's not a problem, to Illumilights Manufacturing Incorporated. I said, write me the check, and we'll get it done, and we'll get you open on time. And he said, okay, great. He wrote me the check, I flew back home, and I opened up a company under the name of Illumilights Manufacturing Incorporated. in the midst of getting these jobs done because that's who I am, but I'm still upset with life because it's kind of like everything I worked for is crashed. You know, and I'm trying to figure out where to move on from here. And I had a party at my house because just before we were closed, it was funny. We were the second largest employer in Martin County. Okay, the largest was Drummond. We were the second largest. Now, in manufacturing. Now, there were only 2 manufacturing companies in Martin County, so it was easy to be number 2. Okay, so yeah, there's only 2 dogs on the show, second place, no problem. Okay, so. You're in the top 2? Yeah, exactly. We're in the top 2. But it made me important politically. So people wanted to do stuff, and I also had the largest house in Martin County. So I had a 5,700 square foot house in Sugar Hills, and so we threw a lot of parties there. So there was a big party going on there for a political event, and I didn't want anything to do with it because they were all in there having fun, and I didn't want anything to do with having fun at this point, so I'm just hanging out in my driveway. This guy drives up, and he's there to pick somebody up, and he comes walking up to me, and his name was Marvin. I'll never forget him as long as I live, and he said to me, "Hey man," he said, "I hear you're the go-to guy in town if you want to start a business." And I'm thinking to myself, well, thanks for flattering me, but if you knew what was going on in my life, you wouldn't be saying that. That's what I'm thinking, you know. And he said, "Everybody I talked to said you're the man." He said, "I got a business we're expanding here in town, and I want to talk to you about it." I said, "Okay, great." Now, remember, I'm still from New York at this point, and personality classes hadn't been taken. I hadn't done any of this stuff. And I looked at this guy, and I said, "Is there anybody that knows more about this thing than you?" And he's looking at me with this panic-stricken face, and he goes, "Yeah." He said, "Matter of fact," he said, "one of the biggest guys in this business is going to be down in West Palm Beach this week, and his name is Bubba." He comes and picks me up, and we made it about a block and a half, and I said, "Can we go back to the house and get my car?" Because this is in July, and he doesn't have air conditioning, and you couldn't see out the windows from the smoke in the car, so I thought we were going to die before we got there. And I said, "Okay, let's go back. This is my voice of freedom right here, okay? This is the guy leading me to the promised land." So we go back and get my car, and we walk down, and I meet this guy, Bubba. Okay, and Bubba said something that will forever change my life. He said to me, he said, "I went and took a month's vacation with my wife and kids, and while I was on, my income went up 32%. That was it. I was done. I didn't need to hear another thing. I'm in." They handed me a whole box of tapes. Physician said, "Listen to them 3 times, call me back." Well, I listened to him. I lost track of this Bubba guy. The guy Marvin came to my house. He said, "The best way to build a business is do home meetings." I said, "Okay." He said, "You got a great house for doing home meetings. Let's do the home meetings here." So we do the meetings at the house. I did 3 meetings. I got exactly 0 people to show up. My brother, who was down from New York, happened to be there one time, and we forced him into a meeting, which worked out really well. Yeah, that's really so basically 3 meetings, nobody showed up. Now, at that point, my sponsor Marvin and his sponsor, who they were in this thing for life, we're doing this thing, both handed me their boxes of tapes and said, "If you ever figure out how to get somebody to your house, let me know," because they figured if I couldn't do it, we were all in trouble. And they quit, and I have seen none of those people ever again to this day. Here's the funny thing. You know how they said success doesn't happen overnight? Neither does failure. Because I lost everything in one day. It took 9 months before the last car or house disappeared. It was a painful bleed. You know, I had 12 vehicles. We were parking at a neighbor's house so some wouldn't vanish. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it took. But the failure happened over a long period of time, too. Okay, since then I've owned 20 different businesses and been partners in all sorts of different things, and things have been great. But that was what I was going through when I saw this. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to get this thing done." So I just started listening to tapes, and listening to tapes, and listening to tapes. I'd wake up and be listening to them. The cable got shut off, so I really didn't have any choice. I listened to them in the car. I listened to them in the house. I listened to them everywhere I was. And I had this one guy, Kenny Stewart, and another guy, Randy Haugen, and they talked about driving depth and go from living room to living room to living room. And Kenny Stewart talked about how he did it, and he broke it down in detail. He said, "You get this person in, then you ask, 'Hey, wouldn't you like to do one of these at your house when they have guests there?' And you go, and you nod, and they say yes, and you book a meeting. You know, he said, then you go to their house and you pick this guy up and take him with you, okay? And he said, you work the leg down, and by the time you get it 20 deep, you should break it direct. Okay, I'm an overachiever, I guess. I drove with one leg myself, 109 deep in the living rooms. House to house to house to house to house. Interesting story. 24 years later, that leg still qualifies. Okay, just to tell you how depth builds security. So that was a pretty good one. So then I built another one, and then I built another one. And I went emerald. I was making 6 figures. And now I started running the events like this for 6,000, 7,000 people, doing one almost every weekend of the year somewhere in the country because I ran all the events for Tim Foley, Bill Childers, Bubba Pratt, all of the upline. I ran all their events. I had fun because that meant I got to speak and I got to travel and I had a good time doing it. And that's how I ended up in 14 different countries and traveling all over speaking. Had a ball. It was a great lifestyle. I really, really enjoyed it. And actually, Amway in the Philippines. Interesting thing happened to me when I went over to the Philippines and helped Amway solve some problems over there and speak for a couple of organizations. I met this woman right back over here. I met my wife, Melissa, building the business over the Philippines. So you never know what you can get out of network marketing. So anyway, it was an interesting one. There's Melissa and myself. We were the 3rd approved training system in the Amway business. We were the only emeralds in the world of Amway that had training system. You had to be a diamond to have one. We just didn't care. We started one. Tell us no. We started it. A big thing for me, and that's why it only takes 3 legs to go all the way to the top here at islandLife. I don't want you to build a business you can't live with. We want you to build a business you can enjoy. So everything's happened through processes along the way as we went. I became a listening guy and got to travel and stuff all over the place. And when I got out of the Amway business, I started becoming a consultant and speaker for many different companies out there. And I won't mention some of the names because it's really not important, but that's what I was doing. As the listening guy, I would do TV shows. This is with the Family Network. It's a Christian network out of Atlanta. Some of the people you get to meet. And then here we come into islandLife. Here we are. How do we get started? Very simple. Let's create a level playing field where people can win. We get rid of shipping and handling. We get rid of check charges. We get rid of that. $39, $39. We get rid of the PVs and BVs. Amen. Oh, God, none of that stuff. That's just a way that they can have you buy stuff for a lot more money but pay you less. Because they're not going to give you full value of what you paid. In our business, $39 in volume is $39 in volume, period. And that includes your shipping, your handling, your website fees. I want to build a business that you can be proud of, that you don't have to be embarrassed with your people, and you don't have to explain things to people. Our thing. All we got to do is keep our minds right. Don't let other people get in our heads. It's kind of funny. I talk to somebody and say, well, I talked to my neighbor about this, and it's like, well, why would you talk to your neighbor? If they live in the same neighborhood as you are, how can they tell you where you want to go? You live next door to them. You have the same lifestyle. What are we talking about? You're talking to your next door neighbor. Don't let them talk to you. It's like, well, everybody. It's like, no. I said, if you listen to the 95%ers, you'll live with the 95%ers. If you sell to the masses, you'll live with the classes. But if you sell to the classes, you'll live to the masses. So it's just kind of weird that we listen to other people. Why do we listen to other people? Nothing they do makes sense. If it makes sense, we'd all be doing it, right? Is that what they're saying? Yeah, if it makes sense, we'd all be doing it. Nothing in life makes sense. You hear things that people tell you all the time that don't make any sense. Okay, cleanliness is next to godliness, right? It's not. I've looked it up. It's next to cleavage and claustrophobia. Pull out the dictionary and look yourself. Okay. So we're creating a vehicle here, trying to fix everything we've ever seen wrong. We give you the free position to fix the unilevel, so instead of people just going why, you get a free business every time you sponsor 5 people, so you can build depth. Because in network marketing, there's one basic philosophy. Width is profitability and depth is security. Well, because of our free business position, your depth can be your width. So you can build depth